Hello, welcome to
Papi Approved Movies.
My name is Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
Our podcast will review and critique my favorite PG-13 movies.
Movies that I wasn't allowed to watch until I turned 13.
And every other week, Natalie and I will watch a new PG-13 movie.
And I'll see if Papi's movies live up to the hype.
Which, of course, they will.
Today we're going to be watching Weird Science.
Before we begin, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie and don't want it to be spoiled,
Press pause and come back when you're finished. Now, Papi, tell me the deets on this movie.
Hey, Natalie, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
All right, I'm excited to hear your take on this movie. It's going to be very delicious, I think. Weird Science came out in 1985 with a runtime of 1 hour and 34 minutes. We bought the DVD at St. Vincent de Paul's. It was written by John Hughes, Al Feldstein, and William M. Gaines, and directed by John Hughes. Main stars are Anthony Michael Hall, Ilan Mitchell Smith, and Kelly LeBrock. John Hughes is behind two movies that we've recorded for the pod, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and The Breakfast Club. And of course, he made the Home Alone series. So what do you think, Nat?
It was alright.
Just alright?
I didn't like it.
Oh, no. What'd you give it?
I give it a 1.5 star.
Whoa, lowest rating yet. Lowest rating ever. So you didn't like it at all then?
No, it was kind of boring almost.
So it was kind of boring.
Yeah. Even like if I put aside the sexism and all of that.
What sexism? I'm sorry, I didn't see anything.
Like if I put all that aside, it's still like boring and like kind of odd.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of a, weird movie. Yeah. Watching it again, I was seeing all the reasons you would hate it, but I thought they were still kind of funny. I still laughed a lot. Although there are some things that have aged very poorly. Very poorly.
Why don't we get into the recap?
Okay. The movie begins with Gary and Wyatt checking out girls doing gymnastics during PE.
First of all, Wyatt, what type of name is that? Like, I've never heard that name before.
Wyatt? Pretty cool. Wyatt Earp, that's a very famous cowboy. And a famous cowboy movie, Tombstone, that I want to watch with Sophia. So that's a pretty famous name.
And what was the other name?
Gary.
Gary. Okay, well, that's more normal. I thought it was going to be Garrett, and I was like, that sounds like carrot.
Maybe it is Garrett, and Gary is the short name for it. I did know it Garrett in high school. There's a guy named Garrett in high school. Yeah.
But I've never heard the name Wyatt.
Yeah. Anyways, they're checking out girls doing gymnastics during PE.
My question is, what are they supposed to be doing? Like, what PE are they supposed to be doing?
I remember when we did wrestling, the boys would do wrestling, the girls would go do gymnastics or dancing or something.
Really?
Yeah, so we had the boys and girls were separated for PE sometimes.
Oh. But like, where are they like not getting participation points?
Well, I mean, they're supposed to probably be at the other gym. They haven't showed up yet, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they're getting dressed. I don't know. Anyways, then two bullies, Ian and Max, pants them in front of everyone. And everybody has a funny laugh.
This is also stupid because they could just pull up their pants.
Right, they just stood there with their underwear.
Yeah, what is wrong with them?
Yeah, it's not like they taped...
No one's that stupid.
They didn't like tape their underwear to the floor or anything like that, right?
They could have just pulled their pants back up.
That's true. Yeah, it is true. Because they just stood there, like in their underwear, just for like good 30 seconds or so, right? All right. Later, Gary's getting ready to spend the night at Wyatt's house. Wyatt's parents are going out of town for the weekend, leaving them with Wyatt's older brother, Chet. Frankenstein comes on TV and Gary gets the idea to create a woman using Wyatt's brand new computer. That's a good idea, right?
Yeah, sure.
The ordeal begins and Wyatt starts working feverishly on his computer. They even plug it into the phone and hack into the mainframe for more power. They begin to add information like body size, and they use old Playboys as reference materials. They make their creation a genius rock star with a perfect body.
That's another thing. I already told you about this, but like, how come there's so many Playboy magazines? And like, how did all these teenagers have access to them so easily?
They were in a chest with like a lock. So I wonder if they were like Chet's or maybe his dad. Because people used to collect Playboys.
Yeah, but like these teenagers, I really doubt that they would have been able to get their Playboy magazines that easily.
Their parents. Like, so let's say, so the dad probably has a subscription to Playboy.
Yeah.
It comes every month for the last 10 years or whatever. And then he puts them in a locked chest. So that way no one can get to them. But then they're able to get into it. They'll figure it out. Yeah. So I would say that's easier than you think. Have all access to these places. Anyways, they create a genius rock star with a perfect body. Then they connect the Barbie to the computer and press enter. The house and neighborhood go crazy, creating a gigantic mess. Suddenly, everything stops. There was nudity there, too. You can see the pictures of the Playboy magazine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wasn't really paying attention.
There was actually a couple of moments of nudity. Because we saw Fifth Element when we saw that there was nudity in that. And there hasn't been too many other PG-13 movies where we've seen nudity. But in this one, a couple of times we see it.
I mean, other than Titanic, I believe.
Oh, that's right. We did see Titanic has a topless scene as well, right?
Yeah. Although, I'm glad they didn't end up, making her stupid in the end. Mm-hmm. At least they decided. But I feel like there was a wrong reason. Do you know what it was? Why they were like, oh, no, we have to have her smart.
When they started hooking her up to the mainframe, I don't even know what that means, right? For more power. Then they got into the internet. And then that's where they found all the knowledge in the world. And that's how they put it into her.
Oh.
Yeah. Nobody had the internet. Well, maybe some people did. Maybe rich people did. But, I don't know when the internet really started or when people actually had access to it. I know that the first time I saw the internet was mid-90s. So it was 10 years before that. So I don't know. But maybe rich people had access beforehand,
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so that's why they made her a genius. In the bedroom, Wyatt and Gary watch the bathroom door begin to inflate. Eventually explodes, and out walks Lisa, the woman they created. She's dressed in a halter top and a bikini underwear. She asks them what they want to do first, and they end up taking a shower with her, but they keep their clothes on. That was the first thing they wanted to do with her.
Is that the nudity?
No, because you only see her back.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, no, the nudity was the magazine, and then later on in the movie when they're creating the second woman, but they end up creating the rocket, the lady's playing the piano.
Uh-huh.
And then the piano goes flying into the...
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then her clothes come off, and she gets thrown into the lake outside their house.
Uh-huh.
By the way, amazing house, right? Everybody's rich in John Hughes movies.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know how it's possible. Even in Home Alone, it's a mansion.
Yeah. They're all very wealthy people, right? So next, Gary and Wyatt want to take Lisa out to party. As they get ready to go, their clothes are transformed into nice suits, and Lisa takes them in her convertible. They go to a bar, and right when they walk in, there's a record scratch. You like that? Old school?
What?
The drinks begin to flow, and Gary becomes the life of the party. He talks about an ex-girlfriend who kicked him in the junk. Then he gets too drunk, and they have to leave. You don't have anything to say about that?
First of all, he was being racist, and also he was saying more and more curse words.
Okay. Yeah, the way he was talking was racist, right?
Yeah. He was impersonating I think it was the man that was at the bar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was basically just impersonating him.
Yeah, he does the same voice. So this same actor is in The Breakfast Club. Uh-huh. And there's a scene where he talks like that as well in The Breakfast Club when he gets high. And so I think now that's obviously not an acceptable thing to do. Once Gary and Wyatt get home, Chet comes in and yells at them. He threatens to tell their parents that they're out late and drunk. He only stops when Wyatt agrees to pay him $175. Later that night, Wyatt goes to Lisa and they kiss, and she tells him to relax.
I think it's funny because compared to Chet, if I came home super drunk, Sophia would just tell you immediately and wouldn't even strike a deal.
You think so?
100%.
I don't think so. I bet you she wouldn't tell me anything.
I guarantee it.
You think too little of your sister. I'm pretty sure she has your back 100%.
She wouldn't, because she'd much rather me be safe and not get alcohol poisoning.
Agreed. But that doesn't mean she would rat you out to us. She'd probably just lecture you and yell at you. Maybe not smack you around like Chet does Wyatt. $175. That's a lot of money.
I don't even have that much money in my wallet.
Well, I hope not. I mean, you'd have too much. But I'm saying and this is 1985, almost 40 years ago?
That's even more expensive.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Where does he get this money? Because I'm sure he has to pay him out all the time.
I'm telling you, I think they're rich. Maybe he has a $100 allowance a week or something. Who knows? The next morning, Wyatt and Gary wake up and think that it was all a dream because the house is in perfect condition now. Then Lisa calls them down to breakfast and they realize that she's real. They go to breakfast and Chet is about to walk in. They ask Lisa to hide because they don't know how to tell Chet about her. He comes in and steals her breakfast and extorts more money from Wyatt for wearing Lisa's underwear.
I don't even know why he's like mad about it. If anything, wouldn't he have just like laughed at him?
I guess
like it doesn't make sense that he's angry.
I think it's more homophobia.
Yeah, but like, how is he getting the money? Like, what is in it for him? Just like, oh, you're wearing women's clothes, now give me money. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Well, I think he just is going to tell their parents. I think it always comes down to that. And I think that he just is going to beat him up until he gives him his money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that he even cares. I think he just wants stuff or free money, you know?
Yeah.
He's just the worst bully of the whole movie, you know? Lisa, Gary, and Wyatt go to the mall together. She's there to buy lingerie, and they want to buy her perfume. Then Max and Ian see Gary and Wyatt and drop an icy on them. Their girlfriends, Deb and Hilly, are annoyed, but go back to them as soon as they apologize. Then Ian and Max leave the mall and see Lisa and are dumbstruck. They chase after her, and then Gary and Wyatt come and pick her up. They tell Ian and Max that she's with them, and they're so perplexed. Then Lisa invites them to Wyatt's house for a party.
What?
I know, he was freaking out about it, right?
Why couldn't Lisa have just made it at someone else's house?
I guess the whole point is to try to make Wyatt and Gary cool. Like, that was her whole goal.
I don't think that's a very good moral of the story.
No, I agree. But I think that's what her goal was. And it works. Because they end up getting girlfriends. They end up being cool for throwing a cool party. And they end up being cool for, like, saving everybody's life. Wyatt's stressed out about the party. Lisa tells him to relax as she prepares the house. Then she goes to Gary's house to pick him up. She meets his parents, and they do not like her.
I don't know why she acts this way in this scene.
Very
I think
weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
First of all, she doesn't even act like that normally. She almost acted worse when meeting his parents.
Right. Like, she started acting like, oh, we're just going to have a party and have sex and drugs and things like that.
Yeah, like, why would she even say that? It doesn't fit her. Her personality changed as soon as she was trying to get something out of the parents.
And Gary was spending the night. Like, why did she have to go pick him up?
Exactly. Why couldn't he just have gone over?
Yeah.
It was just a waste of time.
The party begins and hundreds of kids come in and rock out. Ian and Max come in with Deb and Hilly. The party rages on, but Gary keeps Wyatt company in the bathroom because he gets gas when he's nervous. Then Deb and Hilly ask to use the bathroom, and they come in. But Gary and Wyatt don't leave. They chat and are impressed that they're throwing such a cool party and how awesome Lisa is. It gets awkward and the girls ask for privacy. So instead of going outside, the boys go into the shower. And when they come out, the girls have already gone. That's funny. They're
just so stupid.
The other thing, there's a scene where he flushes the toilet before they come in.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm like, did he just go to the bathroom? And his
with
friends
Wyatt in there?
Yeah, no, well, Wyatt's the one going to the bathroom. But did Wyatt go to the bathroom with Gary right in the room? Right? And then number 2, right?
Yeah.
So.
and I don't know. And then the guy that did go to the bathroom was like, oh, sorry. Like, he just took a poop. And he's like, oh my gosh, you were the one who did that.
It was funny. And he slapped him. Yeah, I think it was that was a funny scene, but very awkward. Like, those guys, they don't know how to talk to girls at all, right? And they ended up going into the shower. Meanwhile, Ian and Max are trying to make their move on Lisa. And she rejects them. She tells them that she's faithful to Gary and Wyatt and does anything they say. Then Ian and Max go to Gary and Wyatt and apologize for being punks. They ask to borrow Lisa, and they're told no. They are even willing to trade Deb and Hilly for her.
That's messed up.
Yeah, that is kind of the worst, right?
That's your girlfriend, and you're like trading them like they're cards.
Yeah. I'm happy that they said no. Because I thought at that point, because they really did like Deb and Hilly.
Uh-huh.
And I was worried that they were going to trade them for Lisa, you know? Because they did like Lisa, but they also kind of saw her as an object still.
Yeah.
Gary and Wyatt decide to tell Ian and Max that they made Lisa, and they're willing to make another woman for them. The process begins again. Everything goes crazy. And right when they think the woman will come out of the bathroom, Lisa walks in. She's disappointed with the boys and reminds them that they forgot the final step, which was attaching the Barbie doll to the computer. Instead, they accidentally attached a rocket from a magazine to the computer, and a nuclear missile rises through their house.
It's kind of like they got punished.
Yeah, for sure. Lisa's upset that Gary and Wyatt have not come out of their shell and comes up with a new plan. She has a motorcycle gang come in and terrorize everyone in the house. She wants the boys to be brave and stand up, but instead, they hide in the closet.
As one would do when there's a gang of motorcyclists in your house.
No, he would be like, can you please leave? Then one of the gang members drags the guys out of the closet and starts making fun of them. The gang takes Deb and Hilly hostage. The boys have had enough. They stand up to the gang and Gary takes out a gun and gets the upper hand. He tells them to let the girls go and to leave. And they do. Hilly and Wyatt begin to chat and then start making out. Then Deb and Gary begin to chat and they start making out. The next morning, Chet comes home and finds the house a mess. He finds Gary and Deb in bed together and Wyatt and Hilly in bed together. He lines them up wanting answers. Lisa comes in and tells the boys to take the girls home and that she'll take care of Chet, which she does by turning him into a blob monster. She makes him promise to never mention any of the mess and to be kind to the boys from now on. Gary and Wyatt take the girls home and kiss them goodbye. Then they come home and see Chet and are shocked. Chet apologizes and promises to be better. Then they go and tell Lisa that they have girlfriends, and she's sad, but she's happy for them. She disappears in a cloud of smoke. The house begins to repair itself and finishes right before Wyatt's parents get home. Even Chet is back to normal. The next day at school, it's boys' PE class, and the new teacher walks in. It's Lisa, and all the boys pass out. The end. I thought that was kind of weird. Why would Lisa be the boys' PE teacher?
Especially because it's the same school.
Right. It is the same school. So the boys said goodbye to her, but they'll see her in class in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
In third period, you know what I mean? I don't know. I thought it was a funny movie. It's kind of cute, but obviously has a lot of problems now looking back.
I have questions too. Like, first of all, did the dad ever remember him? Or like, there's a scene where she turns Gary's parents catatonic or whatever. Well, I think that they're dead. But like, she's like, no, they're not dead. They're just aging.
They're not aging.
They're just not aging.
They're better than dead. They're not aging.
But like, I think they're dead, right?
I don't think they're dead. I think they're catatonic, like frozen in time. Uh-huh. But how do they get cleaned up?
Like, do they just wake up again in their apartment? Like, I think they're still catatonic.
It would have been good to see them, like, dragged backwards into their car and then just have them driving off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as we know...
They're still in the closet.
They're still in the closet. That would be funny if the parents open it like, oh, what are you doing here, Mom and Dad? You know? Could this movie still be made today?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. There's a lot of bad connotation about creating a woman to be practically their slave, right?
Yeah.
What are some other things that you notice about the movie that you would probably not have come out anymore?
Well, I think that overall, like, all the women in the movie were sexualized.
Okay.
Even, like, the teenagers.
Yeah. Deb and Hilly, they're the teenage girls, right?
Yeah. And, like, the girl who got all her clothes pulled off by the wind in that piano scene, like, that was unnecessary. When they started being, like, more cool or whatever, they started calling women, like, the B word.
Yeah, they did the B word a lot, right?
Yeah. And they actually used the F slur, too.
Woman
I think
scene.
maybe it was Chet that used the F slur.
Oh, really? Yeah, probably. I could see him being that one.
I thought, this is kind of random, but when Lisa goes to pick up Gary, like, the husband is overall just, like, really rude to the wife. He yells at her, tells her to shut up, calls her the B word, and it's just, like...
He calls his wife the B word?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, like, ew.
Yeah.
It was, like, a bad feeling.
Of this guy.
Uh-huh. Or, like, that these kids, their dream was to, like, shower with naked women everywhere as like 14-year-olds. And even like the message of the thing was like, oh, you gotta be cool, like just be cool. And they tried to make it like a different message because Deb and Hilly were all like, no, we like you no matter what, like blah blah blah. Well, not really, because you had to wait all the way until they had a whole party and all of this to finally like them. Plus Deb and Hilly, I think, were written poorly too, because they like hated their boyfriends and everything they did, but they were just like, oh, well, he apologized, so I'm going to go back to him. They were so extremely, like, not strong.
Yeah,
and they also, like, were just used as the two girls, and also, like, they cheated on their boyfriends.
Yeah, I mean, literally, they did.
And
the
whole thing about trading the women.
Yeah, we'll get to that. They said we do have a lot of fun and go to parties and stuff with them. So, like, they were using the boys because they are popular. So the girls were very shallow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they were overall bad. Also, how old is Lisa compared to Wyatt and Gary?
Definitely.
Because there's many scenes, well, I think there's only really one, where Wyatt is just making out with her, like, completely. And it's like, that's just weird. Like, it feels awkward to watch. And it's, like, very strange that this very grown woman is here with these 14-year-olds in all these sexual type of places. I
think they're like 15, 16, right? And they both kiss her.
Yeah.
The scene where she's teaching him to kiss. And then they leave to go to bed together. Right? They're like, let's go do... What are you dreaming about? He's like, women's gymnastics. And then she's like, I'll do my best. So they both go to be with each other.
Uh-huh.
And we don't know what happens. Then later on, she says, the first minute I walk in, you fall asleep. So we know they don't actually have sex, right?
Yeah.
Then when Gary picks her up, they're kissing in the car. Like, he's kissing her to show off that he can kiss her in front of Ian and Max.
Yeah.
And both times
it's weird.
Yeah, they're underage and she's not. So it's statutory rape, right?
Uh-huh. And the final scene, like, what was that for? I think that was also, like, unnecessary because they just put her in, like, a sexy, like, PE coach uniform
right.
to have her there. And I was like, what is this even about? It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that she comes back. You would think she would not come back.
Like, it's almost like they just put that in there so they could put her in another outfit.
Yeah, yeah. And very similar to the first outfit. She comes in underwear and, you know, just a small top, right?
Yeah, exactly. The only thing that I'm, like, so grateful for is that they didn't do the, like, women trade thing. And that also they're like, we don't want to take advantage of, like, our power on Lisa.
Yeah.
Like, they said that. And I was like, that's great, but why do you have so much power over her in the first place?
Well, they created her.
I know, but, like, you could have made her, like, not your servant.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I would say I would have never thought of that. The whole time she was there because she got created by them.
Yeah.
So.
But I think they, like, wanted her, like, oh, a girl that will listen to us and do whatever we want. They said stuff like that at the beginning. Like, oh, a girl that will actually, like us and do whatever. They could have not made her, like, their servant. To that degree, especially.
They were talking about making her a simulation so they can ask her questions so they can learn about how to date girls. Obviously, she becomes human.
Yeah.
Or whatever she is, you know. And I do like, it is kind of like a Frankenstein situation, you know.
Uh-huh.
Where something comes to life and they get the idea from watching the movie. So, anything else you want to talk about before we move on to the Bechdel test?
No, but there's a scene where Gary sits on a bed and he's wearing shoes and he puts his shoes on the bed. And it was concerning. I just wanted to bring light to that moment.
People used to do that back in the day. You just wear your shoes wherever you want.
Just on the bed.
Yeah, Mom, every time she sees that in a movie, she brings it up too. You and your mom are very similar in that way. I don't even care. I didn't barely even notice.
Like, dirty Converse. And he just put his feet on the bed. Like, shoe down on his bed. Which most likely, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure had white sheets.
No, I mean, the comforter was on, right? The blanket was on?
I don't know. Maybe the comforter was white too. Knowing them, their whole room was like a mess. Like, that was another joke that, like, it was a mess. So it's probably not perfectly made beds.
Yeah, but then Lisa cleaned everything up anyways, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Like, with her magic and stuff like that. So even if it got dirty, it doesn't matter. I mean, the house exploded. Like, the piano went out the chimney. And you're worried about dirty sheets?
Well, this happened before Lisa was made.
Okay, but still. You're like, oh my gosh, there's a rocket in the middle of the house. But someone put their feet on the bed. That's the worst thing that's ever happened to that house.
You.
All right, this is back to the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
I think the Bechdel test is a very good judge if a movie is female friendly. What do you think?
No.
No, we find out a lot. All right, the Bechdel test is to check for female representation in movies. There are 3 criteria. Criteria number 1, are there 2 or more named females?
Yeah, there's Deb, Hilly, and Lisa.
All right. Criteria number 2, do they talk to each other?
Yeah, I think Lisa talks to Deb and Hilly, and she says something like, oh, if you get the chance, you should shower with them.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, and then Deb and Hilly talk to each other.
All right. Criteria number 3, do they talk to each other about anything other than a man?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Deb and Hilly talk to each other about how perfect Lisa is.
Oh, so it does pass the Bechdel test. So there's this other podcast, and they have a more refined criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is, do they talk about something other than a man for at least 2 lines or 2 sentences?
Well, I think there was 2 lines. Like, one of them says, like, oh, do you hear that girl with the English accent? Yeah. Like, she's perfect. And then the other girl goes, yeah, even when she burped, it was, like, charming.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if we can think of that in the future as part of our Bechdel test. So it does pass the Bechdel test. Weird Science, a feminist movie, pretty much. And most people like it. No, I don't think so. Anything else you want to talk about? This lowest rated movie, even lower than The Fifth Element?
Low-key was just boring. Also, it was weird how it had a theme song.
That's not weird.
It kind of reminded me of Austin Powers, how it was almost like a TV show, but like a movie.
Oh, yeah. But I wonder if that Weird Science song came before the movie.
Huh. Maybe it was a TV show. Who knows?
Well, there is a TV show of Weird Science that comes out later.
I'm talking about before.
No, I'm saying the song is not connected to the TV show. It's connected to the movie. I don't know. I don't know if the song came before the movie. Maybe it was a popular song that came out in the early 80s. And they named the movie Weird Science, and then they used the song because it's the same title.
Yeah.
We don't know. If you do know, email us at poppyapprovedmovies@gmail.com. All right, anything else?
No.
Thank you for tuning in to Papi Approved Movies.
If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast app, or like and subscribe to us on YouTube.
We put out an episode every Monday.
If you want to see extra podcast content, follow our TikTok at Papi Approved Movies.
If you want to suggest a movie for us to watch and critique,
email us at poppyapprovedmovies@gmail.com.
That's poppyapprovedmovies@gmail.com. No spaces, no caps.
We'll try our best to get to your suggestion. And remember, it has to be PG-13.
Next week, Sophia will be back and we'll be watching Deadpool.
And I'll be back in 2 weeks to watch Sneakers.
I'm Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
See you next time.
Bye.